I'm Roger and welcome to my shop. What I'm going to talk about here is a major upgrade. We have here on my right is a Dremel scroll saw, and I've had this since back in the way back in the 90s, and yes, it does work. It's a 2-speed. I thought it was time for an upgrade, so I've upgraded to the Dewalt DW788, and it's a difference of night and day. Yes, they both do the same thing. This obviously has a much deeper throat and a much deeper plate to work on. The little dust blower is superior to what this one here had. This task light that's on the Dremel did not come with it. It was just something you could buy as an aftermarket thing, so I had done that. And on the DeWalt, you can buy the actual DeWalt light, but it's $35. This little light here, sewing machine light. I've got this same light on my industrial sewing machine, and yes, I do sew, but not clothes and stuff. I do upholstery and marine canvas, that type of thing. But anyway, this is magnetic. It's LED. The DeWalt light is incandescent, and from what I've heard, it does get pretty hot. You can just stick this anywhere on the side of the scroll saw here, and it's got a gooseneck. You can aim wherever you like to have it. So that works well. Another difference is this Dremel here. While I say it does work 2-speed, I used it for years. It takes pin and blades, so you're rather limited to what blades you can use. And if you're doing inside cuts and they're tiny, you run into a real problem with the size hole you have to drill to get that blade through. The other thing too is getting the blade through on this is kind of a giant pain in the butt, because you got to use an Allen wrench, and yeah, it was a hassle. Anyway, I've upgraded to this. I did do some modifications to the base plate before I put it on, as you'll see here in a little video excerpt. A little something I'm doing here to modify the base plate on the scroll saw is the finish from the factory was fine. It's nice and flat, it's fairly smooth, but I've done this with my table saw. Actually, I did it with my Blackstone griddles. When they first came from the factory, I stripped the top with acetone, as I did with this here. And now I'm going over it with a wet or dry paper with an oil base. I'm actually using WD-40 for a lubricant, and a wet or dry pad. This on my orbital center. This does not have holes in it, because you don't want the vacuum part to be sucking that up in the sander, obviously. But I'll sand this here with starting with 240, then I'll go to 320, and then 400, and then probably finish up with 600 or 800, and then I'll put several layers of paste wax on it. Then I'll get it mounted on the saw. I like to do this ahead of time. It's a lot easier to do before you have it mounted. It makes for a lot nicer finish, and it's a lot smoother, and it's very slippery and it's slick, so that your project doesn't stick or snag or hang up anywhere. So this is a little modification. It's not necessary. You don't have to do this. It's just something that I like to do, that I've done in the past. Had very good luck with it. Also did it with my planer. I went through and sanded that a little bit with 400 grit, and then followed that up with several coats of paste wax. Makes everything slide a lot easier. Nothing sticks. Of sanding this down, and I made it. Right now it's just like glass. It's also got a nice couple coats of paste wax on it. I've made a few test cuts with it. I'm happy with it. The tension adjustment is very nice. The variable speed is very nice. I know other people have done reviews on these. I may get into one a little deeper in the future here. I haven't had this all this long yet. One thing I do want to add to it is the little aftermarket upper arm lift for when you're doing inside cuts. You can just pop that up and it stays there. Position your piece, release it back down, and put your blade back in. Anyway, just wanted to bring this up. This Dremel here was going to be going on Marketplace here shortly, because I certainly don't need it anymore, and it just takes up space, and maybe somebody else can learn how to scroll saw on it. Anyway, That's my very quick overview of the DW788. I didn't do an assembly video on it because the assembly is very simple. It's got a pin in the back. You set the table on the pin, you push it in. You got two screws that go up from the bottom with an Allen wrench, and you're done. You're ready to go. Cutting with it, if you're experienced with a scroll saw at all, is very, very simple, and it'd be like going from a Yugo to a Cadillac, or a Maserati even. If you don't know what a Yugo is, you're too young. You need to ask your parents or your grandparents. Anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of this video. If you did, appreciate getting a thumbs up. Of course, we're always looking for subscribers. You hit that bell at the bottom right of the video. You'll be notified when we post another video. Otherwise, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.